Hello everybody, today is the day. We are going to start recording drums for the next Menace the Hellfire EP. I have all of my recording gear right here on stage. It doesn't look like a lot, but I have everything I need right here. Here is my interface. It is a Tascam Model 24. I did not spend the $400 it costs to get a proper travel case for this, so don't give me shit about not having a proper case for it because I don't use this enough to justify spending $400 on a travel case. I have this bag containing all of my mic stands that the shoulder strap just happened to break today, so that's wonderful. And this box contains all of my XLRs, my headphones, other microphones that I am using, etc., etc. And over here is my camera that I'm going to use to record, a tripod, and one last microphone that I'm going to use. I almost forgot this case, which has a bunch of SM57s in it that I'm using for the toms and the snare, and the corresponding clips to put the mics on the stands. I also have some moon gel in here and some extra cabling if need be. And finally, I have a very thick blanket to go over the kick drum. This blanket is god-awful and filthy, and it needs to be laundered ASAP. But before I take it to the laundromat and get it properly cleaned and put it away until winter, I am going to use this one last time to cover the kick drum. So this right here is an entire mobile recording rig. I took 3 trips from my car into here, and you really don't need that much to get a good quality sound. So I got a lot to do today. Jimmy, the drummer, only uses the 14-inch rack tom, so I have to move the smaller rack tom off, which is great because that's one less cable and one less microphone I have to worry about. I'm gonna have to move the house cabs over to stage right, and I have to change the heads on the 14-inch rack tom, the floor tom, and I have to make sure that the kick drum heads are properly tightened, and that's okay because what I have today to show you guys, and also what I use to tune my drums, is a drum dial. This thing is incredible, and the paperwork that I have in here that comes with it has a sort of a measuring tool for what size drum you have for proper tuning. So if you ever wanted to know how I tune the drums and how I get it sounding the way I sound, I use this. I'm going to change the head, put a little pressure in the center of it to stretch it out a little bit, get the screws finger tight, and then I will go along with the drum dial to the proper corresponding number that it recommends I use for that size floor tom, and that size rack tom, and that size kick in order to get the drums tuned perfectly. I will also be retuning the resonant head too, just in case if it was screwed with by any other drummer that played here. So I have a lot of work to do. I want the needle for this to be right on the edge of this line right here. So right about there is good. Now let's switch over. Whatever lug you start on, you have to do the opposite side first. So if I started here, I want to do this. Then I want to go not the one directly next to it, but the one like in between these two. So it would be one of these two is what I'm going to do next. So anyway, this is now roughly between 75 and 80. I want to get this between 75 and 80 next. There we go. And now, since I did this one, I'm going to do this one. It sounded a little bit better to me when everything was around 80. So I put everything around 80, plus it was easier for my eyes to just see 80. So all of the lugs are tuned right here to a tension rating of 80. So with that being said, the final step, and I strongly insist that you learn how to do this too with your ears, is you want to now gently tap each of the corners where all the lugs are, gently with a drumstick, and listen for the tone, right? Because if this sounds like bum 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 bum, and then here it sounds bum 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 bum, it's going to cause a lot of overtone. It's going to sound like crap, and you want this to sound in tune with this. So if this sounds bum 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 bum, you want this to sound bum 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 as well, and all around. So the final part has to do with your ears, and I did the resonance head already. So now let's focus on the beater head. And if you hit it, see, it doesn't sound too like even to me. So there's probably a lug here that's a little loose, so a little too tight. So still sounds pretty good though. Still sounds good. But I want to make sure that everything sounds great, because the number one rule in recording is you don't want to have it just be good enough. You want it to be great, because the whole point of a great recording is so you have to do the least amount of work in mixing. The less work you have to do in mixing, the better your product is going to sound. So I have my drum tuning stick here. I have a stick. I'm going to put my finger in the middle of the head so I don't hear a lot of overtone. So I just want to hear gently what each lug sounds like. So let's start with this one. See, that sounds a little bit higher, so I'm going to go this just a little bit more. There we go. See, this one's a little too high. So now take my tuning and just loosen that up a little bit. So now that I hear a little bit of a difference in here, I'm going to have to adjust all these individually, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so okay, that sounds pretty decent, so I think that's the best we're going to get out of this drum. Let's put the kick back, because kicks are always the most annoying because of how wide the drums are and how many lugs there are. So let's get, while I'm sitting here, let's get this floor tom next. Yeah, this drum head has needed to be replaced for quite some time. So I already checked the resonance head, and everything sounds great under here with the tension of the drum dial at 75. So I'll be looking to do the same thing for this drum head, for the beater head, to go at 75. Toss this one away. Here's what the resonance head sounds like. Yeah, that sounds fat as hell. This is what's going to be the new drum head. Oi. Now I know why I never became a drummer. There is so much maintenance to go into keeping drums cleaned, maintained, and well kept. Jesus, no wonder why drummers spend the most money out of anyone in the band. Okay, that sounds pretty good already. And that was just with like putting some weight on my fist and winding up each lug until I don't see any more wrinkles in the head, which that technique works a lot. But right now I'm going to go through every lug and make sure that it is at 75. Okay, all the tension rods around here are exactly at 75 on both the beater head and the resonance head. Let's see what this sounds like. Yeah, that sounds awesome. May need to put a little bit of moon gel, like here and here maybe, but has a really, really nice decay, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, floor tom. Floor tom's good. Now let's go over to this 14-inch rack tom. I'll put the link in the description where I learned this from, because I know there's probably going to be some of you that are saying I'm doing this completely wrong. So I'll put the link to the video where I learned this with an accomplished drummer who showed me how to do this, and you can yell at him too. So let's check the drum dial. Now the bottom heads are tuned to 75, so I want to get these at 75 as well. Okay, drum heads changed, everything sounds good. Let's assemble a drum kit. Okay, so we have our drum kit assembled here. I do know that he's going to have a snare roughly right here, and we will check the snare when it gets here. Obviously I don't have it, so I can't check the tuning on it. But for now, kick sounds good. Rack tom sounds good. Floor tom sounds good. So what I want to do is make sure that I don't have any overtones going on, and it's optimal for recording. So that's why I have this. This is Moon Gel. Not only do I want a nice, clean, direct sound from this, but I also want it to sound good in the room. So if there's a lot of overtones over here, it's going to reflect in the walls and in the room mic, which is going to be right underneath that chandelier. So here we go. And right away, definitely going to need one at least right there. Maybe one more. So you definitely don't want to overdo it with the Moon Gel. So here's just one piece. Still hear a little bit of boom coming from there. So take it from the top, because the microphone's going to be right around here, pointing directly in the center. And that sounds okay, but let's see what it sounds like with 4 pieces on. That actually sounds really great. So I think, listen to that, it has a really, really nice attack to it. And it has enough of the natural tone of the wood right here. I may put a little bit of tape and some paper towel underneath that to deaden the resonance head just a little bit, but because, yeah, all that resonance is coming from the resonance head, go figure. So all the attack is coming from the rack tom right now. That sounds great. So I used up 1 pack of Moon Gel. Let's get another pack of Moon Gel and do the floor tom. Yeah, you're definitely going to need some Moon Gel. I may need to put 2 packs on. So let's start from the bottom. And then let's go to the top. All right, so I have 4 on here, and that sounds good. So let's try 4 on here, because this is a naturally bigger drum. We're going to need possibly 2 more pieces. So let's start with 4. Let's see how that sounds, and then I'll add up to 6 on this. Yeah, I'm going to need to put 2 more pieces on there. I have 4 packs of Moon Gel, in case anyone was wondering. And these last 2 packs have like 6 pieces each, so I have at least maybe 20 little pieces of Moon Gel. Okay, there's 6 pieces on now, and let's go with 8. I'm hearing a rattle, and I betcha it's probably the leg right here. Where is the drum key? Where did I put the drum key? Ah, right here. Let's figure out what leg is causing that rattle. Let's see, is it you? Yes, it was you. Okay. bit of a rattle, and it's coming from the legs. I just don't know what leg is causing the rattle. That sounds great. I know this isn't a scientific way to test a kick drum, but I don't have a pedal with me, so that sounds good. And any resonance is coming from the tom head. Yeah, I'm gonna need to tape up just a little bit underneath the resonance head. There's a lot of snappiness and attack with that. A much smaller piece of tape and a much smaller piece of paper towel. Now we're going to see what this will do. I think that's just about perfect. Yeah, that's good. Sorry for the season, guys. Allergies are kicking my ass today. The pollen is out in full force and my allergies are just killing me. Okay. Okay. Thinner piece of tape, thinner piece of paper towel. There we go. Might have just one more tiny piece of tape. Let's see, what would more moon gel sound like on this? Let's experiment. Because I have one more pack of moon gel in my bag. Okay, a little bit better. Now let's see what 8 pieces of moon gel are going to sound like. Yeah, I'm gonna use more moon gel. Evenly spread out that moon gel. There we go. This has the natural nice decay that I want. That's good. Drums are ready to be mic'd up. And we are going to use my own mics and not the venue's mics. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to borrow these cables, but I'm going to put the mics over underneath the stage box. Now it's time to start getting my recording setup ready. So this is my quote-unquote desk. I borrowed it from the merch table. And before I hook up anything, I want to first talk to you about my interface of choice. This is what I use for any of my small rig live sound gigs. This is what I use for all of my, well, most of all of my recordings, especially for drums. This is a Tascam Model 24. It is a live mixer. It's an interface, and it also is able to record everything to an SD card slot. The reason why I chose this over other competitors like the Zoom interface that basically does the same thing as this, except it's a little bit of a smaller package. In fact, the Zoom is actually better if you want headphone control, because the Zoom up here has individual headphone mixes that you can adjust, and you can send headphone mixes to, I think, 8 different headphone outputs, which is great. That's a fantastic feature. This doesn't have that. This only has one headphone output. But the reason why I chose this is because of these preamps. These preamps sound fantastic. This mixer is not cheap. This is right around $1,000. I bought this for exactly $1,000. The main reason why I bought this is the preamps. These have a very warm analog sound to it with the combination of the direct to digital conversion via USB. This sounds absolutely amazing for drums. It's a very warm sound, it's a very punchy sound, and I'm not going to use any of the EQ or the faders here because this records everything to computer from the preamp down to the onboard compressor. I'm not going to use the compressor for any of my inputs today. I'm using just the pre-gain. But this pre-gain right here has the analog sound that I want, and that really is the main reason why I bought this. Bigger, heavier, has less headphone splitting features than the Zoom competitor model from Tascam, because these sound incredible, as you'll hear for yourselves when we get the drums all mic'd up. So this is my interface of choice. Now let's get started miking up the drums. We're going to start with the kick drum. My kick drum mic of choice is the Audix D6, and I think I would never use another kick drum mic ever again. I used this mic once at a where the hell did I use this? I used this at a festival I worked at, and it's the first time I heard it in context with, like, I think it was like a Journey tribute band that was playing. But no matter, I heard this and it blew me away and impressed me so much that I had to order one the next day. I like to put it just so the head, where it starts to like thin up right here, is in alignment with the sound hole, and I like to point it at the beater, yeah, which is roughly right there. When you mix this right in a live sound environment, you don't need to add any EQ to this mic. This does all the work for you. So I'm also going to be miking the bottom of the snare as well. I'll use this stand as the bottom snare, and I'll use this for top snare. And the bottom mic will be another SM57. In fact, all the drum mics basically are SM57s, and that's okay if they're all SM57s, because as many recording professionals will tell you, and I'm one of these people, the SM57 is the greatest microphone ever made. It is only $100, retail brand new. It sounds great on anything, and you can literally use this mic for any application and it will sound great, and I will die on that hill. But you may have a different opinion. I love vintage Neumanns. I think they sound incredible, but I'm not paying upwards of $7,000 for one microphone. I'm sorry. I'll gladly use it if I'm ever in a professional studio environment, but you will never catch me buying a vintage Neumann for $6,000. I'd rather buy a new exhaust system on my Mustang, or I'd rather go on a vacation. Perhaps if I ever, get into a heavy amount of business doing this whole recording thing and I need it, then I would consider it, but I don't think I'm ever going to be in the market for a vintage Neumann. A lot of people, I find annoyingly, are obsessed with gear, and it's okay to be into gear and to appreciate good gear, but a lot of people tend to mix with their eyes more so than their ears. Like let's say if I were to come in and offer my studio recording services, and people would naturally ask, well, what gear do you have? And I have a Tascam Model 24, a couple of SM57s, this Audix, and my overheads and my AKG mic. They're probably going to say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. We'll go to a more reputable studio. And that's totally fine. You can go wherever you want. I don't really care. But One of the reasons why I don't do a lot of studio recording anymore is because, number one, I refuse to sink myself into thousands upon thousands of dollars of debt to just buy gear. Those of you who actually do hire me to do studio recordings and you hear the results, or if you go anywhere on Spotify where I have my work posted from the bands I've worked with, you'll hear what I can do, because I think the results should speak for themselves, not based on what gear I have. I honestly don't do a lot of studio recording anymore because a lot of studios in my area, I live in Woodbridge, so I am a 20-minute drive from New York City, and I'm also a 20 to 30-minute drive from Asbury Park and the greater Jersey Shore area. And there are a lot of excellent studios in both New York City and the greater Jersey Shore area, Asbury Park specifically, that charge roughly the same amount for studio time. I charge about $25 an hour for tracking, and I do not start charging you. If you were to hire me to be your recording engineer, I would not charge you until I start hitting the record button. I don't think musicians should pay me for the time it takes to set up here. But that's just me. Some studios do charge studio time for like the hour or so it takes to set up, but that's just me. You can charge whatever you want. That's your studio practice. I'm just going to charge the way I want to charge. And I don't take royalties from bands. So if your song goes viral, I believe the artist should keep every cent of those royalties. I shouldn't ever get a dime from that. Because why would you, think of it this way, would you give royalties to your plumber every time your toilet flushed properly after your plumber fixed it? Would you give royalties to your mechanic if every time you started your car and your engine doesn't blow up? I don't know, just to me it just feels dirty taking money from musicians after the job is already completed. So I never take royalties from bands. I will gladly take tips. I'll gladly take letters of recommendation. I will gladly take free plugs on social media. I will gladly do all of that, but I don't think I should ever get royalties. To me, that just seems dirty, but I digress. There you go. Now it's pointing straight at where the drummer is going to strike the drum, because that's where we're supposed to be miking. 3 fingers high, pointing directly at the center of the tom. And a little side view over here. That's the ticket. That's what we want.
Yeah. The snare is a beast, bro. Yeah.
That sounds so fucking loud. It's obnoxiously loud, and that's amazing. Woo. Okay, so the input breakdown. So from left to right, we have kick, top snare, bottom snare, hi-hat, rack tom, floor tom, overhead right, overhead left, room all out there. 10 is bass and 11 is wireless from the guitar. Both the bass and the guitar are probably going to be scratched today, although we're going to try and see if we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone with getting the bass tracked. So we have the AKG C214 up here, about elevated at the height of the middle of the drum kit, and this mic is the reason why we are here today. This mic is going to capture the entire room, because as you saw in the previous front of house vlog, this room is pretty flat, so this mic is going to capture the entire room, and this is why we're here. This mic right here is why you choose what room you record drums in. You can record your guitars, bass, vocals, even almost anywhere, but drums change room to room, and what separates the great drum tracks from the bad ones is that room mic. We got 6 songs completely done. Drums sound great. This man right here killed it, and I am very happy with how everything sounds. So this took about 3 hours to set up. Now it's going to take about an hour to break down, and I now have to move all the house cabs back to where they were and get the stage ready because there is a show here tomorrow, and I want to make sure the stage is all set. A minute. Michael McDonald's a king. You guys out?
Yeah, I know.
Cool. Good shit today, man. She's not the best I don't even know the words, and I can't even go that high, so that was just embarrassing. Yacht rock makes everything go by so much more fast and enjoyable. If I get demonetized for this video just because I am lip syncing and humming to this, I will write a very angry letter in protest. I'll probably be out of here by midnight, maybe, if the universe is kind to me. There's a port on a western bay. You know how good this song is? This was this song is the plot of the villain of Guardians 2. That's how you know you got a fucking banger song on your hands. When the villain of a movie can use the lyrics of this song and the plot of the song to justify his evil actions. Also, Kurt Russell, fantastic actor. I loved him as Ego. Guardians 3, I loved it. Definitely the best film since Endgame. Best Marvel film since Endgame. I mean, if you want to count Spider-Man No Way Home technically, then yes, Spider-Man. But, no, I really liked Guardians 3. Don't go to see that movie if you really love animals. Strongly suggest that animal lovers stay away from that movie. because there is a lot of animal cruelty in it. Since about 1 p.m. Okay, so we are done. Close this up here. Turn off the stage. Okay, stage is reset back to normal. Yep. This is ready for a show tomorrow. And what's left to do is get my phone, my beverage. Let's just shut down the rest of the console. Shut that down. Okay. Well, that's that, guys. That was recording drums in a music venue.